It began with a question so bold that most people wouldn't even dare to whisper it. But Candace Owens, known for her fearless and unapologetic nature, didn't just hint at Meghan Markle, she went straight for the core of her public image. This wasn't about another Netflix flop or Meghan's constant grievances with the royal family. Candace dug much deeper, targeting the very foundation of Meghan's carefully constructed persona. In a moment that left even her most loyal followers stunned, Candace made a claim that shook the room. Meghan might have had a child during her teenage years, possibly at just 17. A daughter who, if true, had been hidden away from the world all this time. This wasn't framed as a sad custody battle or a complicated family rift. Instead, Candace painted it as a deliberate cover-up, one that, if proven, could completely unravel Meghan's brand. Think about it. Meghan has built her reputation on themes of motherhood, family, and compassion. But if this claim carried any truth, all of that would suddenly collapse. In one strike, the sparkling image she presented to the world was left with deep cracks.
Think about it. Meghan has spent years shaping her public image around motherhood. She's the woman who proudly displayed her baby bumps as if they were golden crowns. The protective parent who dragged tabloids into court to safeguard her children's privacy. The voice preaching compassion and family values to the world. But what happens to that carefully curated image if she truly turned her back on a firstborn daughter? The contradiction would be staggering. This wasn't just tabloid chatter anymore, it was career suicide. And the timing couldn't have been worse. Spotify had already cut ties with her. Netflix's projects were floundering, bleeding subscribers by the day. Online mockery was stacking higher and higher. The one thing Meghan still clung to, her identity as a loving, devoted mother, was suddenly under attack. Candace didn't just toss the allegation out carelessly, she backed it with timelines. Meghan claims to have been born in 1981, but if she graduated high school in 1994, that would have made her just 13 at the time. An impossibility. The numbers didn't add up. Either her age was misrepresented or her graduation year wasn't true. Then came the rumors of a rushed Las Vegas chapel wedding in 1994, supposedly right after high school. A small, no-frills ceremony, the kind of hasty decision often tied to panic, a missed period, and a very difficult phone call. Was it speculation? Of course, but speculation that aligns with the timeline hits differently. In the world of gossip, when the dots connect, the damage is devastating. Candace's broadcast wasn't just commentary, it was gasoline poured on a fire, and within hours, the internet was ablaze. The internet went into overdrive. Hashtags surged to the top of trending lists. TikTok was flooded with videos dissecting every angle of the story. Reddit threads spiraled endlessly as users became amateur detectives, convinced they were on the brink of uncovering a decades-long secret. The phrase, hidden daughter, suddenly turned into the obsession of the week. People started combing through old interviews, replaying clips, and digging into timelines that had always seemed off. Why was Meghan's high school history so murky? Why were there repeated confusions about her exact birthday? Every inconsistency now felt like a potential clue. And then there was the silence. Meghan, who usually thrives in the spotlight with glossy photo shoots, polished Archwell press releases, or sit-down tell-alls with Oprah, suddenly went quiet. No denial, no statement, no carefully curated appearance, just silence. And that silence screamed louder than any words ever could. Behind the scenes, insiders claimed Meghan was furious. Whispers circulated that legal teams were already in motion, drafting cease and desist letters aimed at YouTubers, bloggers, and even Candace herself. The rumor mill painted a picture of chaos, threats flying everywhere, but still not a single public comment. And in that vacuum, speculation only grew stronger. Online sleuths began sharing side-by-side photos of Meghan and women in their late 20s or early 30s, pointing out striking resemblances that fueled the theory even further. The conversation wasn't slowing down, it was accelerating. Could this mysterious woman really be Meghan's hidden daughter? No one had proof, but in the age of viral media, proof wasn't even necessary. Speculation alone was enough to set the internet ablaze, and Meghan's polished image was collapsing at lightning speed. One particular clip of Candace Owens resurfaced, spreading like wildfire across every platform. Her biting words cut deep. What kind of woman abandons her child, then sells herself to the world as the picture-perfect mother? That wasn't gossip, it was a direct accusation, a demand for answers, and it struck a nerve. Suddenly, the narrative around Meghan shifted. The question was no longer whether she had been mistreated by the royals. Instead, people began wondering if Meghan had been deceiving the world from the very start. If the rumors held any truth, had she ever once tried to reconnect with this alleged daughter? Did the young woman know her mother was a global celebrity? Had she silently watched while Meghan built an empire around the very idea of motherhood, all while erasing her existence? And if Candace's insinuation was accurate, was this daughter quietly living in Chicago right now, watching the chaos unfold from the sidelines? This wasn't just a messy rumor anymore. It was a storm threatening to tear down the very foundation of Meghan's brand.
The controversy didn't stop with Meghan. It pulled Harry straight into the fire. Did he know about this supposed daughter? Had Meghan confessed before their lavish wedding, or was he just another pawn in her carefully orchestrated reinvention? Observers began dissecting Harry's every public appearance, pointing to his distant stares and blank expressions. Was he broken? Checked out? The irony was crushing. Harry, the son of Diana, the man who had condemned his own family for cruelty, was now being accused of helping conceal his wife's most explosive secret. The charge of hypocrisy was overwhelming. And behind palace walls, you can almost imagine the quiet smirks. For years, Meghan and Harry had stood on their soapbox, preaching compassion, morality, and truth. Now the so-called Duchess of Authenticity was being cast as the ultimate pretender. But it didn't stop there. This wasn't just one allegation. It reopened every inconsistency Meghan had ever been accused of. She once claimed she had never Googled Harry before their first date, yet old blog entries suggested otherwise. She said she didn't know how to curtsy before meeting the Queen, yet theater lessons from school told a different story. She publicly distanced herself from her father's side of the family, yet childhood photographs revealed a past that contradicted her narrative. Piece by piece, her carefully constructed image was being dismantled, and this time the cracks were impossible to ignore. On their own, those little inconsistencies might have been dismissed as harmless slips, but in the shadow of a possible hidden child, they suddenly looked like warning signs, red flags pointing to a pattern of deception. The fallout came quickly. Hollywood, once eager to champion Meghan, began to pull away. Executives stopped returning her calls, Netflix meetings dried up, Spotify wanted nothing to do with her. Even publicists who thrive on damage control quietly walked away. Nobody wanted their reputation tied to a brand unraveling in real time. Her much-hyped lifestyle venture, Love Meghan, which had already been a punchline in online circles, now became radioactive. And the woman who once positioned herself as the new Diana looked instead like a struggling actress, clinging to half-truths and staged paparazzi moments. Then came the trap Meghan couldn't escape. If she sues Candace Owens, she risks walking straight into a courtroom where timelines, documents, and birth certificates speak louder than any PR spin. But if she remains silent, the rumor dominates by default. It's a lose-lose situation, and the internet knows it. Every day of silence only adds fuel to the fire. The whispers grow sharper, the questions dig deeper, and the trust crumbles further. And if that alleged hidden daughter ever decides to step into the spotlight, Meghan's carefully crafted empire
Royal, Hollywood, humanitarian, motherly, could collapse in an instant.
This wasn't just about Meghan as a celebrity or even as a royal. It was about a woman who had built her entire identity on what now looked like it could be a lie. And behind the gates of Montecito, insiders whispered that Meghan was unraveling. Furious at Candace, furious at Harry, furious at the world. But anger doesn't erase doubt. And for the first time, Meghan Markle seemed trapped in a silence she could no longer control. Perhaps the most devastating blow didn't come from her critics. It came from her fans. These weren't anonymous trolls hiding behind fake profiles. These were the very people who had once stood fiercely by her side. They had written essays defending her against accusations of racism, flooded social media with #WeLoveYouMeghan whenever the tabloids attacked, and shielded her in the digital trenches of online discourse. But after Candace's broadcast, even her most loyal supporters began to hesitate. The tone in the comments shifted. "I defended her for years, but if this is true, I feel betrayed." Another read, "We've forgiven so much, but a hidden child? That's too far." It wasn't rage at first. It was something far worse. It was disappointment. It was disappointment. And in celebrity culture, disappointment is far more dangerous than hate. Hate can spark headlines, ignite debates, and fuel endless clicks. But disappointment, that starves the very engagement a public figure depends on. And slowly, fans began to drift away. Normally, Meghan's crisis response is predictable. Step 1, position herself as the victim. Step 2, sit down with a sympathetic interviewer, Oprah, Gayle King, anyone willing to nod as the tears fall. Step 3, deliver a polished speech about compassion, trauma, and truth. It's a playbook she has used time and again. But this time, that script was useless. How can you cry about generational trauma while whispers accuse you of abandoning your own child? How can you demand compassion while being painted as someone who showed none? Her silence wasn't just unusual, it looked deliberate. And in the world of gossip, silence doesn't shut down rumors. It blows the doors wide open. The palace, of course, maintained its usual stance, official silence. That's the royal way. But insiders claimed the Windsors were quietly pleased, perhaps even gloating. After years of lectures from Harry and Meghan about morality, racism, and outdated traditions, the tables had suddenly turned.
Harry's entire persona, Diana's son, the wounded boy who lost his mother, the devoted husband desperate to protect his family, was now under scrutiny. If Meghan had kept a daughter from him, he looked naive, even foolish. If he knew and helped conceal it, he looked hypocritical, complicit in a deception that shook the very foundation of his image. And here's where the gossip shifts into something darker, heavier. What if this daughter actually exists? What if, somewhere right now, a woman in her late 20s or early 30s is watching the drama unfold, watching Meghan cradle Archie and Lilibet for the cameras, while silently questioning why she herself was erased? If that daughter ever stepped into the spotlight, Meghan's empire could crumble overnight. No Netflix deals, no Spotify specials, no speaking tours, no glossy magazine covers, nothing. Not even the most scandalous royal revelations could compare to the collapse that would follow.